but in the interest of time, we'll get started. So you already heard my initial introduction to EURAXESS services. With that, we'll jump right into a presentation by two COST colleagues. So Kata Foldi and Inga Dadashidze, I hope I pronounced both their names correctly, are with the COST Association, and they will continue to disseminate information on COST actions. And then after that, we'll hear a testimonial from Hendrix of Michigan State University about being a participant in a COST action. So with that, I'm very delighted to turn to Kata and Inga. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Kata, it is first our presentation or Hendrix testimonial? I had different, okay, let's do. I'm sharing now. I hope you see my screen.
Yes, looks great.
Okay, so in this session, so first of all, hello, and thank you for joining this breakout session. And in this session, so we want to give you as much as possible more information how to engage with COST activities. So as you heard from a nice presentation from my colleagues Kata and Svetlana, COST is the intergovernmental, it has a wide range of countries participating in it, and also it is this main instrument COST operates is a COST action. So how to engage with COST action? Yes, how to engage with COST action? There are different levels. Let's differentiate like this. Researchers will be able to join any of COST activities, but there are maybe long-term participation and short-term participation possible. Long-term participation, this is to join COST actions in their working groups. So all COST actions, they have working groups with specific topics, goals, their deliverables, and it means that you join working group, one of the several working groups, there is possibility, and you can choose one or several even working groups, and you can contribute working on these specific topics, goals, and to produce these deliverables. So this means that by doing this, the researcher becomes member of this network, COST action, and can participate in all activities which are organized by the action. These activities are, for example, like Svetlana already gave this, the activities instruments like working group meetings, training schools. You can become the trainer, and also you can attend like trainees at the training school of your interest. And also even you can host a short-term scientific mission which is performed within the COST action by joining working group as a working group member. Also, it is very important that COST actions, they have some dissemination and communication strategy, and they produce these scientific articles, they publish the scientific articles, white papers, for example, they publish also guidelines or some standards, and you can become also, you can contribute in their work here, and also you can become co-author of these publications and so on. Joint publications. There is the requirement that some COST countries members need to be also co-authors, but it is you also can join and you can become also part of these published articles and some inputs from COST actions. Also, how about that to compose new projects with them and apply for research funding with them? Kata already mentioned that it's very important that COST has kind of pre-portal nature to apply, and COST actions are very, very successful in achieving funding for their projects. And of course, this kind of collaborations, of course, it supports collaboration and opens new opportunities for participants. I already mentioned about long-term participation, but there is also possibility short-term for short-term participation. And in fact, basically all researchers, you can attend all the training school short-term. You can be also part of or host of short-term scientific mission, trainer or trainee to attend the trainee training school organized by only. It's not joining cost action, but just participation in their activity, and you can attend their workshop or conference, or it is also a possibility to become ad hoc participant of cost action. You can be invited as a speaker in their meetings, in their workshops, conferences, or training schools. This is about this shortly, and how to join. So how you, first of all, you need to find the cost action of your interest. The subjects of cost actions are very diverse and can be on any of subject in any of scientific field. As we said, also bottom-up approach in open call, as it is the main principle of cost, and also openness is main principle of cost. And these cost actions are open environment for new ideas and for spreading excellence and promoting scientific, technological, economical, cultural, and societal innovation in Europe and beyond. So openness is the one, and if you, how you can find new action, your action of your interest, you go to the cost website under browse action. You can use some key words, or you can use advanced search, and you find. Let's happen that you found the action of your interest, which is in your field exactly, and it is really exactly like overlapping your research, or maybe even complementing your research. It's something you miss and you find this action. You will see all information on our website, who are the action chair, who is the vice chair, working group leader, and you can contact them. You can contact to have more information. And a very important document for the actions, this is memorandum of understanding, which is describes the objectives, research coordination objectives, and capacity building objectives, what they want to achieve during the 4 years. Of course, it is interesting for you to see there, and to see there also working groups, how what they want to focus on, which research topics they will focus. So this is also advice, as I already mentioned, to contact action chair, working group leaders to get more information about activities, tasks, and possible contribution. You need to see what it will be benefit for you, and how you can contribute to the action, of course. And this is very simple application on our website. When you see this website, there is now it is displayed, sorry, on the screen, and you will see like you see here, description, management committee, main contacts, and leadership. These are the chair, as I already mentioned, and working group leaders. And the last is working group. You click there and it appears here list of your working groups. So you can choose one of or several working groups, and after by button apply, you can go, it will redirect you to our cost online system, and so it will redirect you our e-cost system, and you will fill all information about you, what is required in the application or form. Of course, you will be asked to provide your CV, and you need also to write a little bit about motivation, why you want to join the cost action, and how you will contribute. So this is all information, and it's very simple application with this, and after it is up to management committee, but normally they accept all participation from working groups. As I already mentioned, our actions are this open environment and open networks for newcomers, for new participations. So this is about newcomers, as I said. But also you can be part of the proposal for cost action. So you can participate at the starting proposal stage. How it happens, Kata already explained. So this needs to be the requirement of 7 cost countries, but others also there the other experts, they can also join from the first stage. And what we found, this is multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary proposals. It is about the scientific, technological, economic, cultural, and societal knowledge advancement and development in Europe and worldwide. So this is also to know that you can be, as a proposer, you can be proposer of the cost action if you are interested. And the last also participation, how you can participate, you can become individual expert, external expert to have some participation in evaluation process. Like Kata, she explained about open call. So we have there experts who are evaluating the proposals. And also you can be invited to assess progress of running cost actions. And also you can be evaluator or final evaluator of the cost action, what they achieved and so on. How you can do that, you see here link, and you can apply, you can open your profile in eCost, and please put your CV, updated CV of course, and choose your expertise very correctly to be able to assign your expertise to the right proposals and so on. As well, there is little box you need to tick if you agree that you will be invited for this kind of evaluation for the proposals in the cost open call or for the cost actions. This is everything what I wanted to say about how to engage. I expect that there will be some questions, and we will provide more information answering your questions. Okay, not questions now, but I think now it is on Hendrix, I guess, right?
So if Kata has anything complimentary to add, no, we have your name listed in the breakout room agenda, Kata, but I'm happy also to go straight to Hendrix. And I should mention we have just about 25 minutes between the one or two remaining presentations and the Q&A session. We'll try to end promptly at 5:15 Central European time. Right now on the East Coast of the US, for me, it's 10:50 a.m. So regardless, about 25 minutes. So Kata, if I don't hear from you in just a moment, we can jump right to Hendrix.
Okay. So should I go?
Please, thank you so much.
Okay, yes, I'll share my screen. If that's okay, it will stop the other screen sharing.
Yes, please.
Okay, I hope that looks all right. So I'm really happy to be here and share our experience integrating a cost action into a NSF ExcelNet network of networks. I'm Hendrix from Michigan State University in the US. And the network that I'm going to talk about is called Irena, the International Research Network for Nuclear Astrophysics. So that's an example from the physical sciences, but I hope this will be transferable to other areas. I'm gonna try to go next slide. Okay, so I just want to give you a sense of the motivation why we did that. Networking is always extra effort, and there has to be really a good reason why you do that. And for us in this particular field, science advances require a synthesis of really an extraordinarily broad range of fields, expertise, and capabilities. And there's just some pictures here to illustrate that. We did experiments at a broad range of cutting-edge accelerator facilities, isotope accelerators, deep underground storage rings. We need work in astronomy with telescopes, large-scale gamma ray, X-ray observatories, stellar observations, gravitational wave observations, and then it's a huge range of computational modeling, also sort of pushing things to the cutting edge in terms of models of galaxies, of stars, of stellar explosions, a lot of theory And then there are other components like professional development that are of course really important. And so anyways, to make this work, really interdisciplinary networks are key in this field, and the required capabilities and expertise are not available in a single country. And so that's really the motivation why we formed this network called Irena. It's funded through an NSF program called EURAXESS that supports the connection of networks with other networks. So it's a network of networks. The starting point was Gina here. That was sort of the network that we had in place, already pretty large scale. But we needed to reach out to critical capabilities across the world, in particular in Europe. And you can see here the CATEC EU cost action became probably the largest and most important partner in this network of networks. Has been a very successful approach, I think. You can see that in that we just had 2 other networks joining here. The CATEC cost action funding ended, so that's a bit of a challenge with these things, that the funding cycles of different projects in different countries are not always aligned, but there are follow-up proposals, and of course the new ideas that have emerged from this networking are going into the new proposals and hopefully make them more successful. So this, in my view, has turned out to be really extremely beneficial, this partnership with the EU cost action. Maybe most importantly, the first point here, that it gave us sort of instantaneously a connection to a very large number of, in our case, nuclear and astrophysics research groups, laboratories, and observatories across all of Europe. And those were really critical capabilities that we needed, and they're complementary to what's available in the US. That has resulted in a lot of new ideas, new collaborations, and just new things we couldn't do otherwise. Also really critical is that this is a connection to an already formed community with its coordination structures in place. So everybody who's involved in this sort of larger scale networking and collaborations knows that this is always a challenge, the communication and establishing those structures, and having sort of a one-stop connection and then have this all in place was really extremely helpful. For example, the cost action had working groups in place, and they could directly interact with our working groups. And I don't think this could have ever been achieved with sort of individual group-to-group US-Europe agreements. There were significant opportunities then to leverage resources and ideas and initiatives. I want to emphasize that it's not all about the money. The money is also important, but the ideas and the initiatives are probably equally important. As was mentioned before, we took advantage of all these opportunities, jointly supported workshops and training schools. The cost action, for example, supported also research visits in the US. And then we were able to support research visits from US scientists in Europe. So this is really nicely complementary. Of course, very significant opportunities for international coordination beyond sort of the science itself. And I just have some things here. For example, we are writing right now a joint white paper defining the future of the field. Development of common data formats and data exchanges, another example that has come out of there. And then it goes also beyond the science, professional development. It turned out the partnership was very beneficial, forming an international community for young researchers. This offers, I think, tremendous opportunity for early career researchers to sort of get their feet wet with international collaboration. And also for us, it was important to work on advancing diversity, equity, inclusion. And that has been also very beneficial, this collaboration. One example is this calendar, Women Scientists Who Made Nuclear Astrophysics. There was an initiative started in CATEC with the US collaboration, but then if you do these things in a network, it just tremendously enhances the impact. So anything you do sort of has impact across the entire network, and these networks are very large, and so it pretty much impacts the entire field. there was one last point here that I can't see because it's covered up by the, I'm sorry. So that's all I wanted to say. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you very much, Hendrix. I think if anyone has an immediate question for you, just based on your particular network, I'm happy to jump right into that while it's fresh in people's minds. And then from there, we can open it up and have a general Q&A about for you and for the cost association as well. So I will encourage people to submit any questions in the chat. I think there maybe have been some questions that were asked in the plenary or asked earlier. I would say if you're able to copy and paste, feel free to do so right now so that it's the most recent messages so that we can just read from the bottom and then try to address those with the appropriate representative. And if everyone's open to it, I'm double checking the webinar settings. I believe people may have the opportunity to turn on their webcam and or mic. So if you want to make this a bit more interactive, I would encourage you to just raise your hand and then I'll go from there. And either you can just proactively unmute yourself or I can do it for you. So if any of the cost association representatives have any remarks before we jump into the Q&A, I'm happy to hear them. But other than that, I'm just keeping my eye on the chat and I can read some of those questions out loud. And we'll give this about 15 minutes. I'm personally flexible on time. So if the questions continue to go long, I'm happy to stay a little bit, but we've allotted those 15 minutes. So Hendrik, I don't know if you can see the chat as well, but someone asked if there's any tips to elaborate a successful proposal.
Yeah, I have to say I was not involved in the writing of the cost proposal. So we had connections in place, sort of one-on-one collaborative connections with European scientists who were part of the cost section. And when that was successful, we discussed merging this with our networks, and then this whole thing came along. But of course, from my experience, I assume it's similar in cost than in US networking. The key is to have a concise argument why you need the network. There has to be some complementarity and some benefit in bringing together components that form something that's larger than the sum of its parts. And that is, I think, is always the most important thing. And then I think the second thing is some credibility, some credible plan in actually making it work, because it's not so easy, and one needs to have good ideas about how to create the communication channels and how to organize things in a way that it stimulates researchers to actually take advantage of it.
Thank you. I'll follow up with another question from you. Someone asks from Canada, can you share who initiated the connection and who was the champion in leading your group's participation with cost?
Yes, as I said, there were individual collaborations. I personally knew I'm the director of the US network, and I have personal collaborative connections with the leader of the cost action. But there are many other connections, of course, one-on-one in place. And so once this was funded, we knew that this was a great opportunity. And then we started working as a group. The two leadership groups worked together and to create the connection. It's a small field, I should say, maybe. I don't know if this, yeah, it's a small field, so we kind of know what's going on in there.
Thank you. Well, please, Kata.
I come in just to counter balance what Hendrix said, because I think, yeah, of course it's very, I mean, in this case, to know each other, it was an important element. But because we also had questions in the chat earlier, how to start, what to do, and maybe one way to start if you don't have this kind of advantage, what Hendrik had, to know already your future cost action partner, is to browse the cost actions. I put the link into to the chat. I'm happy to repeat it. And then you can find cost actions in your relevant field. And you can see already that now we have a new simplified system whereby you actually find the cost action, find the working group which are relevant to your field, which is relevant to your interest and expertise. And you can directly connect with the cost action via our application tool. And that might be a way to get to know, to get to engage, and that might help to learn more and to build a network if you need so. Thank you.
I like your idea of going through some of the existing chat and conversations that have been had there. Also, because this is being recorded and will be shared online, some of the chat won't necessarily be preserved. So maybe I'm going to ask some questions that Kata, Inga, and colleagues have already answered to the specific people asking. So for newcomers, I think it can be a bit overwhelming at first to learn about cost actions. Just in terms of a simple single sentence, Kata summarized it as: cost does not fund the research itself, but the networking. And I think Hendrix experience shows how that can be successful. Kata, you addressed this. Someone asks, are these open only to academic institutions, or could government organizations from third countries be partners? Could you just elaborate on that?
Any partner are welcome to join the cost action. Of course, it's always the question of the relevance of the expertise and what their added value or what they can take out from the action. But by rules, there is no limitation. Any individual affiliated to an organization can join.
Okay. And looking at earlier conversations, you were also mentioning future calls and for people looking for partners, basically certain websites that they should bookmark and be checking in the near future. In this follow-up email that we send on Monday, what main pages would you recommend we are sure to highlight? And I'll just mention this now so that people can begin searching for them and bookmarking them. So for example, I think the browse actions pages is listed as a major resource. I just, maybe in your own words, if you could describe the most important sections of the website in terms of someone that wants to follow next steps after this webinar.
This was a request or a question to us?
And maybe I'm just thinking you can elaborate on some of the links you're sharing, directly answering people's questions. What are the most important sub pages within the website? So what should people be browsing after this webinar ends if they want to learn a bit more? I think you've been sharing the browse actions link so that people can look at existing cost actions and then consider joining networks, seeing examples of successfully funded networks.
And Inga, you had a good idea as well. Could you share it while I'm looking for the link?
Yeah, this is all, very important to find your action of your interest, of course, browse action. And we can also provide some list of new, very recently started actions, and it's very good to join the action when it's just started. So we have 40 new actions which started September, October. We will provide this information, Kata, as we said, right? This list. And just to again to mention, now we are in open call evaluation procedure. And in this, I don't remember exactly when, but in June, somewhere in June, May, June, we will have 17 new actions also, which will start next year, autumn. So keep your eye, and it's
which I'm looking for the link of the latest
40 actions, which just started in this autumn.
And for the attendees, regardless of if we're able to share the link shortly in the chat or not, this will be included in the follow-up email in the list of resources. So you will have access to that. I'll jump to a question. Someone asks a follow-up for Hendrik. Have you been able to leverage this action to access any additional funding through the collaboration that you've built with your colleagues?
Yes, definitely. I think there are two aspects to this. So one is, I mean, we had a number of successful proposals here on the US side to actually fund research. And I think if you can make the case that you're part of an international network, for example, with a cost action, it just increases the impact of your research, especially in our field. You know, you do a measurement, but you need to, it has to have impact in astrophysical model. And it may be that the astrophysical model group that's leading the field is in Europe. So if you can make this connection, it really is a big plus, I think. And it's of course hard to tell whether that was the reason why the proposal was successful. I think it's definitely a big plus. The other thing is that there were, of course, specific ideas and new developments that came out of the collaboration. One example is, for example, a neutron beam facility that was developed together with a group in Frankfurt in Germany. The idea was developed, and then there was a successful proposal in the US to establish such a beamline. And I think there were many other these kinds of things. So it has been really definitely led to a lot of additional research funding. So I mean, that's why you do this, right? I mean, all the synergistic efforts, and it's nice to have all the travel funding, but at the end of the day, you need to move the research forward. But the connection is definitely there.
Thank you. So I see a few questions and comments. I'm going to try to address them. I'll also encourage my colleagues, if you see a question and you can just jump right in and try to address it. Someone does ask if there is a maximum budget for the funding.
Catalina unfortunately lost connection, so I'm sure that Inga, the science officer, can answer this. I can also add if you want, Inga.
It is average budget. It is about 500,000. It is for 4 years activities. Yes. Yeah, but it depends, you know, budget is not like a fixed budget, because if the action grows, and they tend to grow very much, you can have action from 20 participating countries, or you can have from all 40 countries are there. So it varies very much. So the average, we can say that it is about 130,000, something like this per year, grant period. But in total, yeah, for a year, it is 500.
It also depends on the size of the network. For all the new actions, since we assume that by default, all the cost actions participate and would join the action, all the new actions receive the same budget. That was the decision for the new round of the actions. So, and the actions receive for the first year, 125,000 for the grant period for covering 12 months. But in the coming years, each action will receive according to the size of the network, according to the number of countries represented in the working groups. Thank you. There is another action. If there is not a maximum budget, can you give a sense? Can you give a sense of a range? Yeah, we'll just answer this. And the question about will be there new actions launched? And we also, I think, covered that in the presentation, that the new actions, we just had a collection date in October. So the new actions will be launched in May, approved in May. And in fact, they will start in fall of 2022.
Yes, 70 new actions.
70, yeah, that's exceptional number for the next year round of the new actions. Usually we have about 40 new actions starting every year, but in the next year there will be 70 new actions approved by the Committee of Senior Officials. And there is a question from Ali. What is the first step for researchers from Asia who have no an idea about the proposal? Well, Katalin has already answered this question. If you don't have a consortium to start to submit a proposal counting at least 7 countries from the cost 7 parties from the cost countries, you will have to find those partners, the colleagues from the cost countries, to be able to reach the minimum number of countries to submit a proposal. And of course, Katalin was perfectly right. If you don't know researchers or enough, you don't have enough partners, join running action in your topic, in your field of research, build a network, and then propose if someone wants to submit a proposal with you. Thank you. related to MC member, do they need to reply again with the changing rule, or do they do nothing? I think, Claudiana, you mean to apply for a working group membership, or because regarding to the MC membership, I don't know, you're a little bit elliptic in your question. Reply again to the changing rules. What exactly do you mean?
She's already MC member, maybe. Svetlana, maybe participating in cost action like MC member. No, you don't need to do anything. You just will become working group member. You will be allocated to the working groups.
Okay, no, but I see Claudiana say to apply as MC member.
Sorry to stop it there, because we already had a discussion before I was kicked out by the system. I lost my connection for a while with Claudiana. She's from Albania. Albania is a cost member country, so she has different option to join. So maybe Claudiana, you can send us an email, and we would be happy to answer for your specific case. May I have a question to Hendrik, just maybe for the benefit of all that are listening? If you could say, and also that we are running at the end of the event, what would be your very short kind of takeaway, as if you haven't been in cost action up until now, after this event? What would how would you see? Why is it? Would you take it up? Would you become already again engaged in a cost action? Yeah.
Yes, I would be even more excited about networking, and I think that the cost actions are a great mechanism because you connect to this very large number of countries, and it's a very open framework. I found that also very nice. So pretty much any researcher in the right country can sort of participate. I think it's a great mechanism, and I would, well, I think we're working on doing this again. Hopefully this can be continued and even taken to the next level. Yeah, no, I think it's a very exciting opportunity from our perspective also here in the US.
Thank you. Well, I think I can offer a quick closing remark. I see one question I'd like to address, and there's two ways to interpret it, so maybe we can ask both of those. Someone asks, can you tell us about the main challenges for our proposal's eligibility? And I guess I want to dissect this into two. Can any of you speak to just what is a common challenge that people experience with their proposals, that hopefully if they know this in advance, they can overcome it before submitting it? And then if I'm understanding this through another perspective, if someone has an application that is not successful, are they able to consult with the cost team to understand why? Do they get feedback? Are they able to apply next year or during a following call, or are they sort of barred from it? So sort of open-ended question for you to interpret as you want. But I'll leave it with that question, and then I'll invite all of our speakers just to say their farewells, and we'll share the recording in a few days with everyone.
Was it a question about eligibility?
The main challenges for the
Yeah, main challenges maybe also to mention here, our proposals need to be anonymous, so this is also somehow a challenge. Not to mention, and you need to also describe what are the added values on the existing network. So this is maybe main challenge, and to describe what is the impact and what are the risks and so on, step by step, or related to the working groups. And all our proposals, they receive evaluation and marks and comments and everything, so to improve.
Great, thank you so much. Well, I think you've addressed all the questions that I can see. You've made yourselves available for people to follow up. As EURAXESS, we're also here to help get you in touch with the right people, hopefully the right NCPs, whether they're based in North America or in Europe. So I hope this has been useful. I'll invite my cost colleagues and Hendrik to share any closing remarks if you wish, but in keeping with time, I'll just say thank you to everyone, to our speakers, to our attendees. We hope you found this useful. we hope you'll continue to attend our EURAXESS webinars, and thank you so much. So Inga, Kata, thank you. If you'd like to give any remarks, Hendrik as well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Very much. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the organization. Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Well, there's no
Yeah.
return to the plenary. So what I'll do is I'll close this in a moment. I encourage you to click the leave room button, and in just a few moments here, I'll formally close out the room. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.